The shuttle drifted slowly through the black silence of space, heading toward the bright silver structure that floated above the neutral planet Vera. The station was massive, shaped like a wheel turning gently against the stars. Its many lights glowed like a small city in the sky. Inside that station, hundreds of young cadets from different species were gathering. They had come to study, train, and learn to live together. Among them was Ethan Cole, a human cadet from Earth. He pressed his forehead against the shuttle window, staring at the station with wide eyes. He had seen pictures of it before, but now, it felt real. This was going to be his home for the next 2 years. A mix of nervousness and excitement twisted inside his stomach. When the shuttle docked, the doors slid open with a hiss. Ethan stepped out, clutching his small bag. The station's hallways were bright and full of movement. Strange languages echoed all around him. Tall insectoid students clicked and chirped. Fish-like beings glided inside floating water spheres, and feathered creatures rustled their wings as they walked. Ethan felt small among them, though a few other humans were scattered in the crowd. A cheerful holographic guide appeared in the hallway, speaking in a dozen languages at once. It directed each cadet to their assigned dormitory. Ethan checked his ID pad. Sector C, room 412. The walk to his room felt long, mostly because he kept looking around, amazed at everything. Windows showed stars shining brighter than he had ever seen back on Earth. Robots zipped past carrying supplies. He even noticed a group of cadets laughing together in a mix of sounds, none of which he understood. Finally, he reached the door of room 412. It slid open with a soft chime. Inside was a simple dorm. 2 beds, 2 desks, and a large window looking out into the stars. One bed already had items neatly placed, folded blankets, glowing crystals, and a few round cushions. The air smelled faintly of flowers, though no flowers were in sight. Ethan set his bag down on the empty bed. He heard a soft sound behind him like a low hum. When he turned, his eyes widened. Standing in the doorway was his new bunkmate. She was taller than Ethan by at least half a head. Her skin was covered in soft, short fur that shimmered faintly with bioluminescent light, glowing in pale blues and greens. Her eyes were large, silver in color, reflecting the room's light like mirrors. 2 small tendrils curved gently from the sides of her head, moving like they had a mind of their own. "Greetings," she said, her voice calm but curious. "You must be the human." "Yes," Ethan replied quickly, trying to sound polite. "I'm Ethan Cole from Earth." "I am Sira Villari of the Luminous Crest," she introduced herself. She tilted her head in a graceful bow before stepping into the room. The glow on her fur shifted slightly, as if it responded to her emotions. Ethan guessed the soft blue meant something like friendliness. They exchanged a few more polite words. Sira explained she was here to study interspecies diplomacy. Ethan admitted he was nervous but excited to learn. The conversation was simple, but Ethan noticed something. Sira's eyes never stopped watching him, almost like she was studying a strange animal. As the hours passed, the station quieted down. Lights dimmed to mimic night. Ethan finished arranging his few belongings and lay down on his bed. The window showed countless stars. For a moment he thought sleep might be hard in such a strange place. Then something unexpected happened. He felt movement near him. Before he could react, Sira calmly crossed the small room and climbed into his bed. She lay beside him without hesitation, her glowing fur casting soft light in the dark. Then, without asking, she curled her long arms gently around him, pulling him against her warm body like he was a pillow. Ethan froze. His heart raced. What are you doing?" he asked nervously. Sira hummed softly, sounding relaxed. "Villari, do not sleep alone. We hold one another. It calms the mind. You are warm, comfortable, like a nest cushion." Ethan's face turned red. "I'm not a—" He wanted to protest, but her gentle breathing against his shoulder made him stop. She was already closing her eyes, her glowing patterns shifting into a calm blue rhythm. Ethan lay stiff as a board, staring at the ceiling. He thought about pushing her away, but she looked peaceful, almost childlike in the way she held him. The truth was, she seemed to trust him completely, as if he were more than just a stranger. Minutes passed. Slowly, Ethan's nerves faded. The station hummed softly in the distance. The warmth of Sira's glowing body was oddly comforting, even if it was the strangest thing that had ever happened to him. He sighed quietly. Great, he muttered to himself. Day 1 and I'm already someone's plush toy. But despite his embarrassment, Ethan felt sleep pulling at him. The stars outside blurred as his eyes closed. Somewhere deep inside, he wondered what kind of wild misunderstandings awaited him tomorrow. For now, though, he let himself drift off. Hugged tightly by his alien bunkmate under the quiet glow of the morning on the station did not feel like morning on Earth. There was no sun rising over the horizon, no birds singing, no air moving through trees. Instead, the walls of the dorm slowly brightened with soft artificial light. A calm voice from the station system announced the start of the day in several languages. Ethan woke up groggy, blinking against the glow. For a moment, he had forgotten where he was. Then he realized 2 important things. 1, he was on an alien space station. 2, he was still being hugged. Sira's long arms were draped firmly around him. Her soft, glowing fur pressed warmly against his side. She made a faint, humming sound as she slept, like a gentle vibration. Ethan's face heated with embarrassment. He carefully tried to move, but her grip tightened, as if her body automatically refused to let him go. Finally, her silver eyes opened. She yawned softly, showing small, harmless-looking teeth. When she saw Ethan, her fur shimmered with light, in a pattern he hadn't seen before. "Ah, good morning, my sleep plush," she said cheerfully. Ethan sat up quickly, almost falling out of the bed. "Excuse me? Did you just call me your plush?" Sira tilted her head, blinking at him in confusion. "Yes, that is what you are, isn't it? Soft, warm, shaped for holding, very useful for rest." Ethan opened his mouth, closed it again, then shook his head. "I'm not a plush toy. I'm a human. People don't cuddle like that, at least not with roommates." Sira looked surprised. The soft glow on her fur shifted from calm blue to curious yellow. "Truly? But your kind is small and built for contact. I thought this was your purpose." "My purpose is not being hugged all night," Ethan said, waving his hands. Sira blinked again. Her tendrils moved in slow circles like she was puzzling something out. "Strange. On Valari ships we always sleep together. To sleep alone is dangerous, it causes stress. No one should suffer that." Ethan rubbed his face. He wanted to argue more, but Sira's expression was so innocent that he didn't know what to say. By the time they reached the mess hall for breakfast, Ethan was still flustered. Unfortunately, things were about to get worse. The mess hall was enormous, filled with long tables and floating trays carrying alien foods. Cadets from a dozen different species sat together, chatting in many languages. The ceiling above displayed a view of the nearby planet turning slowly in the dark. Ethan carried his tray, filled with some bread-like food and a steaming cup of something sweet. He was just about to sit when he noticed Sira waving at another Valari across the room. The tall alien girl came over, her fur glowing with excitement. "This is my human," Sira said proudly, placing one hand on Ethan's shoulder. "He is the best sleep plush I have ever had." Ethan nearly choked on his drink. "Sira!" he whispered sharply. "Don't say that in public." But it was too late. The nearby cadets had heard. A group of insectoid students clicked their mandibles in amusement. A bird-like cadet tilted his head and laughed in a series of chirps. Even the few humans in the hall gave Ethan strange looks. Sira, however, didn't seem to notice the embarrassment. She patted Ethan's shoulder gently, as if praising him. "You see, his shape is perfect, his warmth is steady. He makes the best night's rest." Ethan covered his face with one hand. He could feel the stares of half the room. Whispers spread quickly. A reptilian cadet muttered something about human plushes and laughed. "Listen," Ethan said, quietly to Sira. "You can't just tell everyone that humans aren't—" He lowered his voice. "Toys." Sira looked genuinely puzzled. But why hide such a gift? It is valuable. You should be proud. Ethan groaned. Yeah, proud of being the galaxy's softest pillow. Great. Later that day, during orientation lectures, Ethan noticed something strange. A few alien cadets stared at him with curious smiles. One insectoid even asked politely if humans were available for comfort-sharing sessions. Ethan nearly fainted from embarrassment. He quickly shouted, "No, absolutely not," which only made the other cadets laugh harder. By the evening, Ethan had become known as the human Plush. Everywhere he went, he felt like people were whispering. Yet despite his humiliation, he couldn't ignore something else he had noticed. Sira, who had looked restless when they first met, now seemed calmer and healthier. Her glowing fur showed smooth, steady blue light instead of restless flashes. Even her voice sounded lighter when she spoke. That night, as the lights dimmed in their dorm, Ethan sat on his bed, arms crossed. "All right, Sira," he said firmly. "We need to talk about this sleeping thing. Humans don't normally share beds with strangers. It's weird." Sira blinked. The following days passed in a mix of classes, drills, and new routines. Ethan began to adjust to life on the space station, though the nickname Human Plush still followed him everywhere. He tried to avoid attention, but Sira remained a constant presence at his side. Every night she hugged him in her sleep. Slowly, he began to see it less as embarrassing and more as strange but comforting. But one afternoon, the station's calm routine was broken. A loud alarm echoed through the hallways, accompanied by flashing red lights. A booming voice announced, "Warning, power fluctuations detected. Stabilization required." Ethan froze mid-step. He glanced at Sira, who had stopped in her tracks as well. Her glowing fur flickered nervously from blue to yellow. "What's happening?" Ethan asked. Sira's eyes widened. "It is serious. Life support systems are unstable. If the energy cores fail, it could endanger all cadets, especially Valari. Our bodies are sensitive to power shifts. We can weaken rapidly." Ethan's stomach twisted. "Weaken? Yes. Without stable energy flow, we cannot maintain body heat or focus. Sleep becomes impossible. Some may even collapse." The announcement repeated. "All cadets report to emergency stations. Security teams are investigating potential sabotage." Ethan glanced around the corridor. Many cadets were moving quickly, some panicking. The insectoid students clicked nervously. Birds flapped their wings, murmuring anxiously. And Sira, she looked faint, her glow flickering weakly. "Ethan," she whispered, I may not hold without contact." He hesitated. Then he realized what she meant. All night, her sleep had been calm because she had him to hug. Now, with danger approaching, she could weaken fast if she lost her comfort. "Okay," Ethan said firmly. "Then, we stick together. I've got you." They ran to the emergency station with other cadets. Alarms blared, and lights dimmed to emergency red. Monitors showed parts of the station losing power. Ethan had never been in anything like this. The hum of the station, the flashing lights, the rushing cadets, it was overwhelming. Sira's grip tightened around his arm as they reached a workstation. She pressed buttons with trembling fingers, trying to stabilize local systems. Ethan stood beside her, unsure how he could help. "Press that lever," she said, pointing. "It redirects auxiliary energy to Sector C." Ethan took a deep breath and pulled the lever. A hiss of steam and sparks flew as power rerouted. Sira's glow brightened slightly and she exhaled a relieved sigh. "Good. You are useful, human. Not just for hugging." Ethan blinked. "Thanks. I think." Just then, another alarm sounded. This one was sharper, more urgent. The system warned of a deeper problem. The power cores in the main hub were being tampered with. Sabotage. Cadets panicked. Some ran toward the exits. Others tried to stabilize systems they didn't understand. Sira's breathing quickened. She leaned against Ethan, and for the first time he realized just how fragile she was. You, you need to hold on to me, she said quietly. Ethan nodded. He wrapped his arms around her. At first it felt strange, awkward even. But as he held her, he realized something incredible. The gentle warmth of his body, combined with the steady human heartbeat, seemed to calm her. Her glowing fur shifted to calm blue, steady and strong. "You're amazing," she whispered. "You do not know what you are doing, but it works." Ethan smiled faintly, though fear still twisted inside him. He didn't feel like a hero. He just felt like he had to help a friend. Over the next few hours, the cadets worked together under the guidance of instructors and security robots. Ethan stayed by Sierra's side the entire time. Every time she started to tremble, he reminded her to breathe, to trust that he was there. Slowly, she recovered. Other cadets noticed. Whispers spread. The human Plush, holding the Valari steady. Some laughed quietly, but many nodded in respect. Ethan didn't care about the teasing anymore. He only cared about keeping Sierra safe. Finally, after what felt like a lifetime, security teams traced the sabotage to a small maintenance corridor. A few rogue cadets from another sector had tried to cut the energy lines as a prank, or worse. The system stabilized and alarms stopped blaring. Sierra's glow brightened fully, showing deep calm blues and gentle greens. She smiled at Ethan, still nestled against him. "You saved me, even though I did not ask." Ethan shrugged, trying to look casual. "You hugged me all night. I guess this is just returning the favor." She tilted her head, silver eyes shining. "Humans are strange, fragile, small, yet capable of things even Valari cannot imagine. You stayed calm when others panicked. You are resilient." Ethan laughed softly, rubbing the back of his neck. "I guess we do have our moments." That night, when the dorm lights dimmed again, Ethan climbed into bed with Sierra. Unlike the first night, he didn't feel awkward. He understood now why she hugged him. It wasn't just comfort. It was trust. It was reliance. "You know," Ethan said quietly, "I'm still not a Plush, though." Sierra hummed softly, wrapping her arms around him anyway. "Perhaps, but you are the best human Plush I have ever known." Ethan shook his head with a grin. "Well, I'll take it." For the first time, he slept not just as a human in a strange alien world, but as someone who mattered. Someone whose presence made a real difference. And he knew tomorrow would bring new challenges. But for tonight, the station was quiet. And that, for now, was enough. After the sabotage incident, life on the station slowly returned to a calmer rhythm. The alarms had stopped. The lights glowed steadily again, and cadets went back to their daily routines. But something had changed for Ethan. He wasn't just the human Plush anymore. He had seen the difference one person could make in a crisis. And Sierra? She had started to look at him differently too, not just as a source of comfort, but as someone clever and capable. The Academy's instructors announced a new training exercise the following morning. All cadets were to participate in a simulation designed to test problem-solving and teamwork. Ethan felt a small thrill of excitement. He liked challenges, even if they were difficult. Sierra, however, looked tense. "This is not the same as sleeping exercises," she said quietly. "The simulation may fail some of us, especially my kind." Ethan smiled reassuringly. "Don't worry, we'll figure it out together." The simulation was set in a mock asteroid field inside the station's training bay. Cadets were divided into teams. Each team had to navigate a small shuttle through the asteroid maze while completing tasks such as repairing damaged equipment and rescuing floating objects. Time limits and unexpected obstacles made it tricky. Ethan's team included Sierra, a feathered cadet named Reiki, and a small robotic assistant called Tilo. As the simulation began, asteroids shifted, mechanical arms dropped obstacles, and alarms rang, designed to test reflexes and quick thinking. "All right," Ethan said, taking control of the navigation console. First, we need to stabilize the shuttle before trying to move anything else. Sira tilted her head. Why not move quickly and avoid obstacles? Because rushing leads to mistakes, Ethan explained. Trust me, humans have a habit of thinking ahead, not just reacting. Sometimes slow and steady wins. The shuttle hummed as Ethan guided it carefully. Using the console's sensors, he calculated safe paths through tight gaps. Sira watched, fascinated. Your species sees solutions in steps. You predict movement, not just respond. As they advanced, one of the mechanical arms swung down unexpectedly, threatening to knock the shuttle into a simulated asteroid. Ethan stayed calm. He quickly pressed a series of buttons, activating a magnetic stabilizer that held the shuttle in place. Sira's eyes widened. You saved us. Just thinking logically, Ethan said modestly. Anyone could do it if they keep calm. The next challenge appeared, a floating cargo crate trapped behind two spinning asteroid models. The task was to retrieve it without touching the spinning obstacles. Sira tried to maneuver using her instinctual agility. She moved swiftly, but her long arms brushed against one of the spinning obstacles, triggering an alarm. Ethan leaned forward, scanning the controls. Stop, he said firmly. Let's work together. You hold the crate steady while I calculate the timing, then we move. He studied the rotations carefully and counted in his head. Now, he said, pressing a button. The magnetic tethers extended perfectly, lifting the crate without collision. Sira gasped in surprise. Your mind works differently from Valari. You see patterns we cannot. Ethan shrugged. We just try to solve problems step by step, no panic. By the time they reached the final stage, the team faced a tricky rescue. A simulated cadet floating outside the shuttle, drifting into the asteroid maze. Most cadets panicked, unsure how to reach the target. Sira looked at Ethan, her glow flickering, with concern. We can do this, he said. Trust me, humans are not fast, but we are clever. Watch. Ethan devised a simple plan. Using a combination of magnetic pulses and shuttle movement, he created a path that gently guided the floating cadet back inside. Each step required precise timing, but he remained calm, instructing Sira and Reki at every move. When the simulation ended, the scoreboard showed their team had completed every task flawlessly. Instructors praised their performance, emphasizing teamwork, strategy, and calm thinking under pressure. Sira's glow brightened with admiration. I did not expect a human to lead so well. You are clever, resourceful, and unafraid of failure. Ethan chuckled. I guess humans have to. We're not as physically strong as some species, but our minds make up for it. Reki flapped her wings, and the calm of the station didn't last long. Just days after the successful simulation, another alarm echoed through the hallways, louder and more urgent than before. Red lights flashed in every corridor. Cadets ran in all directions, shouting warnings to one another. Something was wrong with the station's main energy core. Ethan felt his stomach tighten. He glanced at Sira, who was walking beside him, her glowing fur shifting rapidly between yellow and orange, a sign of fear. This is serious, she whispered. If the main energy core fails, the station shields could collapse. Many may panic. Many may not survive without calm. Ethan nodded. Then we stay calm. We do what we can. Together. They hurried to the command deck along with a group of cadets. Alarms blared continuously, warning of dropping energy levels and unstable life support systems. Some of the alien cadets were visibly panicking. Feathered wings trembled, insectoid limbs clicked nervously, and small amphibious cadets shivered. Sira's glow dimmed, and she swayed slightly. I may not endure this stress. Ethan, I need you now. Ethan didn't hesitate. He pulled, her close, wrapping his arms around her. At first he felt the awkwardness creep in, but then he remembered how holding her had helped stabilize her before. Her bioluminescence slowly shifted to calm blue. You're okay, he whispered. Just breathe, I'm here. She leaned into him, trusting him completely. Ethan felt a strange mix of responsibility and determination. He wasn't just a cadet anymore. He was someone Scifi relied on when everything else seemed to fall apart. The instructors and security drones were frantically trying to stabilize the main core. Ethan noticed that many cadets were moving in confusion, unsure what to do. He stepped forward, pointing to a console. "Redirect auxiliary energy from Sector C," he suggested. "It worked before. It can help now, even partially." One of the instructors hesitated. "That's risky." Ethan shook his head. "We don't have a choice. We need calm thinking and action. Now." Scifi nodded beside him, her glow steady. "I will assist. Your logic is sound." Together they worked. Ethan guided the controls while Scifi monitored the energy flows, providing suggestions from her own experience with station systems. Cadets who were panicking started to calm down as they watched their teamwork. At one point, a sudden spike in energy nearly triggered a chain reaction that could have shut down the life support for several sectors. Ethan acted instantly. He pressed a series of buttons to reroute the energy safely. Sparks flew, alarms blared louder, but the spike was contained. "You humans are strange," Scifi said breathlessly, her glowing fur flickering from exhaustion. "Fragile, soft, yet you act with courage and precision." Ethan grinned despite the tension. "We get used to problem solving under pressure. Sometimes you just have to stay calm and think step by step." But the crisis wasn't over. Sensors indicated a small group of rogue cadets had sabotaged part of the main core. They had cut safety lines and were attempting to flee. If they succeeded, the station could lose power entirely. Ethan's mind raced. "We have to stop them," he said. "If we fail, everyone is in danger." He grabbed a communicator. "Scifi, stay close. I'm going after them." Scifi didn't hesitate. She held his arm firmly. "We face this together. Your calm will guide us." They moved through dim corridors, dodging sparks and flickering lights. Other cadets had frozen or were panicking, but Ethan remained focused. Using his human ability to assess and adapt quickly, he predicted where the saboteurs would move next. Finally, they cornered the group near the energy hub. The rogue cadets looked startled at Ethan's sudden appearance. Most expected an alien instructor or security robot to arrive first, but here was a human calmly assessing the situation. "Stop," Ethan commanded. "You're putting everyone at risk. Hand over the controls now." The rogue cadets hesitated, confused by the human's confidence. Scifi stepped forward beside him, her glowing presence commanding attention. "You see," she said, "humans are not weak. We can trust them when we must." The saboteurs surrendered, and Ethan quickly guided them away from the core while Scifi helped restore the safety lines. Within minutes, the main energy core was stabilized. Alarms stopped blaring, and lights returned to normal. The shields hummed steadily, and life support systems returned to optimal levels. The other cadets stared at Ethan in awe. Even the instructors nodded in approval. Scifi's glow returned to soft blue, calm, and bright. She turned to Ethan, her silver eyes shining. You stayed calm, you guided us. You protected everyone. I respect your kind." Ethan chuckled softly, rubbing the back of his neck. "I just did what anyone should do." "No," Scifi said firmly. "You did what few could. Humans are clever, resourceful, and strong, in ways not measured by size or power. You showed that tonight." For the first time, Ethan felt a real sense of pride. He wasn't just the human who had been called a plush toy. He was someone who could make a difference, someone whose calm thinking and courage had saved lives. That night, when the dorm lights dimmed again, Scifi climbed into bed beside him as usual. But this time there was no awkwardness, only trust and friendship. "You know," Ethan said quietly, "I never thought I'd be praised for hugging someone. But tonight, I think it meant more than that." Scifi hummed softly. "Yes. Your presence calms, your mind guides, and you are both warmth and strength. Perhaps being a plush is not so trivial after all. Ethan laughed. I guess it's more than just a nickname now. He closed his eyes, feeling Sira's steady glow beside him. For the first time, he truly understood the value of human ingenuity, how calm, thinking, courage, and trust could shine even in a world full of powerful aliens. Outside, the station floated silently against the blackness of space, calm once more. But Ethan knew that challenges would come again, and he also knew that humans, no matter how small or fragile they seemed, could rise to meet them. The station had returned to its usual rhythm. Lights glowed steadily, life support hummed quietly, and cadets moved through the halls in calm routines. After the crisis with the main energy core, everyone felt the tension ease, replaced by a sense of relief. Ethan walked through the corridors with Sira by his side. For the first time, he felt like he belonged here, not just as the human cadet who had been called a plush toy, but as someone respected by the other cadets. Sira walked confidently beside him, her glowing fur a soft, calm blue, indicating her trust and comfort. Humans are strange, Sira said quietly. We expected you to be soft, fragile, unable to help in emergencies. Yet you saved us all. Ethan smiled. Well, we may not be strong like some species, but we think, and we care. Sometimes that's enough. They reached the training hall, where an official announcement had been posted. All cadets were gathering for a special recognition ceremony. Ethan and Sira exchanged a glance. Inside the hall, instructors and station leaders stood on a raised platform. Cadets from all sectors filled the seats. The chief instructor, a tall Valari with glowing violet fur, stepped forward. Cadets, the instructor began, recent events tested this station like never before. Some of you faced danger and fear head-on, while others struggled. Today we recognize those who displayed courage, ingenuity, and leadership under pressure. Ethan's heart pounded. He tried to stay calm, but he could see other cadets looking at him and Sira with admiration. The instructor continued, Among these cadets is a human named Ethan Cole. Though small in size, he remained calm when others panicked. His clear thinking and steady courage helped stabilize the main energy core and guided panicked cadets to safety. Gasps of surprise filled the hall. Humans were rare here, and many had underestimated them. Ethan felt his face heat up, not from embarrassment this time, but from pride. Cadet Cole, the instructor said, your actions demonstrated that intelligence, calmness, and compassion are as valuable as strength. You remind us all that humans, though different, are remarkable. Sira's eyes glimmered with pride. Her fur shimmered brighter than usual, a sign of joy in Valari culture. She whispered to Ethan, You are not a plush. You are extraordinary. Instructor's attention shifted to Sira. And Cadet Sira Valari, your ability to trust and collaborate with another species was vital. You showed that courage and reliance on others are strengths, not weaknesses. The hall erupted in applause. Cadets clapped, wings flapped, mandibles clicked, and even robotic assistants beeped happily. Ethan felt a strange mix of amazement and humility. After the ceremony, cadets came forward to congratulate them. Some laughed quietly about the human plush nickname, but now it was said with respect, not ridicule. Reki, the feathered cadet, from Ethan's team, leaned over and chirped, I admit I doubted humans before. You surprised me. Clever, calm, dependable. Tylo, the small robot, added happily, human logic optimal. Positive influence recorded. Even Sira's closest friends approached, nodding in approval. We underestimated the human, one whispered. Later, in their dorm, Ethan and Sira sat quietly. For the first time in weeks, the room felt peaceful. The stars outside the window glimmered like scattered jewels. I never imagined, Ethan said softly, that being a human here could actually be respected. Sira's glow brightened. You are more than respect. You are a partner, a guide, and a friend. I am grateful for your presence. Your warmth, your mind, it all matters. Ethan chuckled. Well, I guess being called a plush toy wasn't completely wrong after all. Syrah, perhaps not. But